Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. My name's Casey. Today I'm going to cover another video on the long-term approach to investing, and I want to cover some of the challenges that people face when they're in retirement. This is kind of an introduction to the all seasons portfolio to investing that I was talking about in a previous video. So getting started here, when you're retiring and you're at that age, say like 62, 65, maybe even you may even retire a little bit earlier than that. But one of the challenges that people face when they do retire is they're really concerned about having income. All right, the key to retirement is having the income. And most people are worried that they're going to outlive their income. All right. Now, if we want to talk about Social Security, that's a whole nother topic. But a lot of the baby boomers right now are counting on retiring off of their Social Security, or at least having that be a part of their income each month when they're retiring. Okay. Now, the big question is Social Security going to be there? 5 years from now, or even 2 years from now, maybe even 10 years from now? Nobody really knows. So if you don't really know if Social Security is going to be there because the government can't pay their bills, which we know has been a problem lately, what do you do? Well, the All Seasons portfolio is one of those things that you can put together and take action on to make sure that you do have some income. Okay, now it's not the entire answer. Mostly, I'd say the biggest challenges for people in retirement are listed right here. Their high fees on their 401k. And remember what I said in one of my previous videos about mutual funds. 96% of mutual funds don't match, and they also underperform the S&P 500. Okay, so that's another challenge that they face. Now, my grandpa, I'm going to tell you a story real quick, and then we'll move on. But just a few years back, the man's passed away now. But when he was alive, in his last couple of years of retirement, I was talking to him and I asked him what was one of the biggest challenges he faced in retirement, or just simply investing to prepare for when you retire. What was one of the biggest challenges that you would face? And he told me over the phone when we were talking one time that inflation was another one that he didn't really take into account when he was saving during his years that he was working. So inflation is another challenge with retirement. Now, how do you defeat these, or how do you make sure that these three things here work in your favor? We're going to cover that. Part of that's the All Seasons portfolio. I'm going to break that down for you in a previous video that I did on a long-term approach to investing. We covered a little bit of what the All Seasons portfolio is. It's actually in the low-cost, low-fee indexing video that I did. So if you haven't watched that, go back and check that one out first, because I'm going to cover the All Seasons portfolio, but I'm going to break it down into asset allocation. So getting back to what I was saying here, before we go into that, I'm going to show you. I'm going to draw out a graph here for you, so you can kind of get a better idea of what you don't want to do as you're working through your career, and what you don't want to do when you retire. Okay, and the best way to explain it to you is just draw it out for you in a picture here. So let's imagine you got a mountain, right? And at the top is retirement. Okay? It's right there. Now here's you. Alright, and I'm just drawing stick figures here because I want to move this video along, and I only have a certain amount of time to explain what I'm showing you here. But this is you, and over the course of, what, 30 to 40 years, you're going to work, and you're going to work your way all the way up here to the top. You're going to climb all the way to the top, right? Well, that's, everybody does that. Now the problem is, though, that people on their way to the top here, when they're saving for retirement, they don't take into consideration things like inflation, things like 96% of mutual funds don't match and underperform the S&P 500. Most people don't even know what kind of fees they're paying on their 401k. So these are things that they don't take into consideration when they're saving for retirement. And the problem with that is, once they get to the top here, all right, the top of the mountain, now they got to go down the mountain, okay? So once you've retired, let's say you retire at 65 years old, the problem people are having now is people are living longer. All right, and because people are living longer because of new technologies that have came out in the medical field and the medical industry, they're outliving their income, or they're living longer. All right, so on this downhill slope, the problem people are having is they're not taking into consideration these three things I'm talking about here. And once they get to the top, on the way down, instead of being able to have income coming in, until they die right here, let's say they pass away at the age of, 80, 85, because people are living a lot longer now and living to that age before they pass away, instead of being able to have income come in for them all the way until they die, they're getting cut off, like right here. So they never make it down the slope. And then guess what? Because they run out of money right here, they hit a brick wall. Alright, so the income runs out right here, and then guess what they end up doing? By the time they're 65, 70 years old, they have to turn around and they have to start all over. So they have to go right back here again and do it all over. Now this is not what you want to do if you're going to retire, okay? And I'm serious, because I'm talking about your life here. I'm talking about my life, okay? That is not what I want to do. And I'm certainly not going to bank on Social Security being around either, because again, it's something that, it's an experiment, okay? It's something the federal government created, hoping that it would take care of the baby boomers. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, I don't know, okay? One thing you cannot do is predict the future, so therefore you need to be diversified, okay? And that is part of the long-term strategy to investing, is being diversified. And I'm going to cover the diversification here in another series. It might go into a different video, I don't know. I'm just going to keep this recording, and if it goes over, I'll have to create a new video on it. So let me go ahead and erase this, because now I'm going to go in and show you how to diversify, so that you basically don't encounter this right here. So let me go ahead and get rid of this little fancy picture I drew. And we're going to talk about just one of the things you can do here so that you're diversified, and it's just one portion of your retirement. So don't think this is the entire answer to retiring, because it's a combination of a couple different things. But we're going to talk about the all seasons portfolio. Now this was created by Ray Dalio. He is the world's owner of the largest hedge fund in the world. You know, Tony Robbins talks about him in his book, Money Mastered the Game. He did an interview with him, and basically, to even invest with this guy, you have to have like a net worth of a couple $100 million. He doesn't even offer his advice anymore to people. Tony Robbins was fortunate enough to get some information out of him that I'm going to show you right here on the All Seasons portfolio. If you're curious about how he got that, you're going to have to read the book, okay? Because I'm not going to spoil it for you. But it's a great book, and it's mind-boggling what he shows you when it comes to diversification, because it's not what you would think. All right. So going off my notes here, basically the way Ray Dalio set this up, and again, this was back-tested as well from Bridgewater Associates and some of the other major players in the markets with mutual funds like Jack Bogle from Vanguard. He's the founder of Vanguard. Charles Schwab. Those guys all did back tests on his asset allocation I'm going to show you here. And it was over the past 75 years. This asset allocation over the last 75 years has only lost 10, I want to say it was 10 times. Okay, 10 times, that's it. That's pretty good. And the times it did lose, it barely even lost a percentage point. Actually, it was like not even 0.03% most of the time. There was only 3 times that it really, really lost. And when it lost, it was like, let me just check my notes. Hold on one second. Because I've got it in my phone here. And I'll break it down for you so you can actually see what the numbers were. Here we go. For S&P 500 versus the All Seasons in a 75-year history, in 75 years, the S&P lost money 18 times. All right. In the same time period, the All Seasons portfolio lost money just 10 times, slightly more than once a decade on average. Okay. Now I'm getting these notes from the book that I read. They're on my phone here, so I'm just spitting them out. The S&P 500, its largest single loss was negative 43.3%. The largest single loss for the All Seasons portfolio in 75 years was negative 3.93%. The average loss for the S&P 500, the average loss was a negative 11.40%. And the average loss for the All Seasons in the same time period was just a negative 1.63%. Okay? So when we talk about asymmetrical risk reward, and making sure that